Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have the 2025 Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter. So we'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the Trailhunter, which is new for this new gen Tacoma, and it's a pretty sweet ride. This and the TRD Pro, the big difference there is the TRD Pro is kind of more tuned to kind of the Baja running, a little bit more high speed, where the Trailhunter is going to be more focused on the overland, kind of rock crawling, that sort of nature. They figured people would want a little bit of a different truck, and it's set up a little bit different that way. So there's going to be different wheel options, different looks on the exterior, different seats in this model between this and the Pro. It can get a little confusing when looking at the Tacoma. I think there's 11 different trim levels, all the way from the SR up to the Trailhunter. It really is a very wide range of Tacoma models, so there's definitely one in the lineup that hopefully fits what you're looking for. Now today we're going to focus on this bad boy because this is a ton of truck. This thing is so cool. I've been driving around this morning and I cannot stop giggling at the air intake from the boost noise that it makes. It's so much fun. I don't think that would ever get old, but there is a lot of really cool equipment, so we'll try and cover that when we're on the road. So for now, let's put it in drive, go for a spin around, and touch on some of those cool features. So what powers the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter is going to be a 2.4 liter hybrid turbocharged engine. Now, the only difference between the Pro and this one, the Snorkel actually eats 3 horsepower. So you're 323 horsepower, but 465 foot-pounds of torque, and that's felt almost immediately in the low part of the rev range. Now, like I said, this is built for overlanding and kind of rock crawling, so there's a ton of really cool stuff, whether it's the multi-terrain select or the DAC and crawl control that you can use. But I even came up to a construction thing this morning and there was a little bit of a curb and I might have hopped up, went over it just to check out the suspension, and the Old Man Emu shocks are pretty unbelievable. Now, this has the 2.5-inch Old Man Emus front and rear, and it is quite a big difference over the Fox shocks that are going to be found in the TRD Pro. This seems a little bit more compliant and comfortable on the road. That one does have the isodynamic seats in it as well, where these are just going to be the standard Softex in the mineral color. So it's kind of a hard color to explain. It's almost like a light grayish blue hue to it, but with the orange stitching and piping that runs through the interior, it fits this truck very nicely. Now the exterior, you can get quite a few different color options when looking at the Trailhunter. This is the ice cap, and with the bronze accents, to me, this might be the way to configure one because it just looks so good. So starting on the exterior, there's so much equipment on the Trailhunter. Starting up front, we do have the Rigid Industries fog lights up there. You also do get the TRD light bar that's going to be built into the grille, and you'll notice up front, it's got that Toyota heritage design. So that makes the front of the truck kind of aggressive looking. It gives it just a real kind of beefy off-road stance, and when you're in the truck, it feels pretty big. I mean, it feels like it's almost more of a full-size truck than kind of the smaller mid-size truck, just because of the 33-inch tires and all the equipment that are on here, but it's not hard to park. Especially this one with the multi-terrain camera in here. It makes it so simple to see what's going on in front, side to side, behind you. That is super cool as well. Kind of working our way underneath the truck, there's lots of skid plating under this vehicle. So up front, you'll notice the red tow hooks. So out back, you do have those red ARB tow hooks as well, but the skid plating that runs underneath, this also has rock sliders that run along the side of the vehicle that are already going to be installed with the Trailhunter. So I mean, this thing is fully ready to go overlanding and off-roading right out of the box, which is so cool. And out back, it's got the ARB bumper as well, and the ARB utility bar. So Toyota worked with ARB to design some of the equipment on this vehicle, and you can tell they spent a lot of time doing it because it's so cool. It all seamlessly and flawlessly works into the vehicle. If you didn't know or you weren't an off-road enthusiast, you just think it's part of the design. That's how good it looks, because sometimes when you get those off-road bumpers aftermarket, they do kind of get a goofy look to them, but this fits perfectly on the truck. It's got the parking sensors integrated to the front and rear as well, and all, like I said, just works together nicely. Now, at the rear of the vehicle, on the key fob, you can actually drop the tailgate, or there's a little button you can press on either side of the taillight, and it's a power tailgate. So that will drop down nicely for you. It makes it really simple. If you're loading up gear, got all your equipment, trying to just kind of manage all that stuff, you got your hands full, that's a pretty cool feature. And then you can even just kind of bump it with your knee, and that's gonna bring the tailgate back up, click the button again. There's a whole bunch of ways that is really convenient. Now, I don't know if the camera is gonna pick it up until I crack the window, but let me do this once because this is my favorite part about the truck. I really hope the audio catches on that because it just gives you that boost flutter from when you're kind of flooring it here. That snorkel feeds right into the truck, or that air intake that's high mounted. Again, if you're going through the water, it keeps dust out of there. It is such a cool design on the outside of the vehicle, yet it's so much fun. I literally can't get enough of that. I love that. I think I would be getting terrible gas mileage because I would just always have my foot in it and lifting just to hear that little turbo flutter. But speaking of fuel economy with the hybrid, it's not bad. For a truck with 33-inch tires, this is actually going to get about 23 mpg combined. So the hybrid in this truck really does work nicely together with all the off-road equipment, because obviously you add a little bit of weight to this vehicle as well, but it all does come together nicely and can provide pretty good trail-rated fuel economy or just regular highway fuel economy. I know there's a lot more equipment on the outside as well, but jumping into the inside of the vehicle, like I said, with the soft text material in here in this mineral color, I love it. The more I kind of see, it's almost like a marble design that runs through the interior here. It works very well with all the colors. The palette in here is just perfect. And inside, this one also gets the full JBL sound system. So there's actually a removable speaker up on the dash over there. So you can take that speaker out if you're getting to the campsite or you're just hanging out. That's pretty cool. And then you just plug it back in. It's going to be charged up for you the next time you're ready to use it. But the JBL sound system does make a pretty big difference over just one of the base Tacomas or just the regular non-JBL sound system. I definitely think that's a very worthy upgrade. And this has the 14-inch display. It is massive. You really can't tell on camera, but the display with the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is going to be wireless in here, is so good. You cannot miss what you're clicking on because the screen is that large. And with the backup camera in here as well, you can click it pretty much at any time down here. I can see what's going to be in the bed of the truck, which is really convenient. And then it'll just kind of disappear, goes right back into your CarPlay. Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, it's all built into here. And this truck also has Toyota Safety Sensing 3.0. So what that means is there is a ton of safety. You can go through in the digital gauge cluster here and kind of keep track of all that stuff. If you don't want something, you can just click on it to turn it off. But it's emergency braking, blind spot monitoring. There's so much good stuff built into these trucks. And maybe if your attention is off the road for a second, the Toyota is definitely looking out for you, which is always really nice. And one of my other favorite features, if you're heading out to the campsite, heading to the cabin, the adaptive cruise control with that lane departure mitigation system is so good. You really just get a peace of mind knowing that the truck is paying attention. You're just cruising on the highway, kind of keep that 4, 3, 2, 1 distance from the vehicle ahead of you. It's really simple to use. I wish every vehicle had it because it works that good. Now, a few other things on the steering wheel here, you can actually use Siri. So if you press and hold the voice control, it'll pop that up. So if you're a Siri user with your iPhone, that's pretty convenient. And again, just one of those nice little safety features. Then on the left side, you've got your volume controls and a few other things. Then the right side of the steering wheel, you've just got that adaptive cruise control and a few others. But now these seats are actually heated for the Minnesota winters, and they also are going to be ventilated. So what's really cool is that it's hot this morning, but when I fired up the truck, it already memorized the ventilated seats going in here. It's a dual zone climate control, which is really nice. And I love these kind of aluminum curled sort of design that runs through the climate control system. That's cool and just kind of one of those off-road touches. Like all the switches, the volume control, the AC controls, they kind of got that good off-road feel to them, which I really like. Well, I'm gonna floor it again here. Okay, it gets up and moves too. That turbo and that torque, like I said, that low end grunt, it does fall off just a little bit, but it's very good. I think if you were hitting the trail or like I said, just day-to-day driving around, this is more than enough with the great fuel economy and tons of power. Plus, if you've driven the old gen Tacoma, now hopping into this one, it is a huge difference. I actually had a 2022 Tacoma for quite a while, and the 8-speed in this one is so good. It really does liven this truck up a bunch. It is very smooth on the highway. There's no kind of hunting around for gears anymore. It just works like a truck should. Now back to the inside, I've got wireless charging down here for my phone, a couple of USB-C plugs that you can use if you need them, and then all of your controls for some of the off-road stuff, the 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive select, and then your different drive modes as well. So you can go between eco, normal, or a sport mode, and then like I said, the crawl controls built into here. So if you are doing some pretty serious off-roading, the truck will do most of the work for you, which is really, really cool. What about the trunk bed? So you've got a 5-foot and a 6-foot bed option. This particular one is the 6-foot bed. So I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, if we're looking at the standard 5-foot bed on the Tundra, if you've got the longer bed on the Tacoma, it's only about a 6-inch difference. So this is a pretty big truck. So if you want the 5-foot bed, you can definitely get that option for you there. But having the 6-foot bed's pretty nice, especially if you're going on fishing trips or you're camping out of the back of this. Having the 6-foot bed is really convenient. Like I said, with the backup camera, it doesn't really make it any harder to park or move the truck around. But the truck bed is so cool. You've got those lights back there, like I was saying, on the side of the bed, so it can kind of shine down on the campsite if you're out, or you're just trying to do something at night. Like I said, you're on a fishing trip, trying to find your gear, hooking up the boat. There's lots of lights on the side of the truck, which absolutely rules. And then in the back, there's also a compressor built into the truck. So if you're on the trail, you're airing down, need to air them back up, you no longer have to bring that with you or wire up one of those crazy things under the hood and hope it works. This is built into the truck. USB charging, and there's another plug. You have an AC button right here on the left, so you get the kind of standard plug in the back. If you're running outdoor equipment, maybe you're on the job site, that is really convenient there as well. And then, like I said, this one has that spray-in bed liner. So it's overwhelming the amount of equipment in this truck. And now we do have to touch on the price. So MSRP on these is going to be between about $64,000 to $66,000, depending on the equipment and some of the options that are in these trucks. But I mean, if you're looking at a mid or TRD off-road Tacoma and you wanted to put all this equipment on here, right? You want to do the 33s, all the cool stuff inside with the materials. I mean, you couldn't build this truck for that money. Yes, you maybe could, but it's not going to come with a factory warranty. This also gets 2 years or 25,000 miles of maintenance covered when new. And when you shop with Walser, we offer an 8-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That means you're on the road for the next 8 years, not really thinking about anything, just doing your scheduled maintenance along the way. So there is a lot to like about this Tacoma. I knew this morning when I hopped in, I was about 5 feet from the store and I realized I want one. It's so good. I love the TRD Pro. I think it's so cool with the isodynamic seats and all that good stuff. But the Trailhunter, especially if you're living up here in the Midwest where we are, just kind of makes more sense. I think it's almost a little more comfortable on the road, yet if you're hitting some of those fire roads, going off-roading to the cabin, I mean, with the compressor in the back, the plug, the wireless CarPlay, there's so much cool stuff in this truck. You could spend another hour just talking about the features and all the stuff built into these that makes it pretty special. So I think if you're in the market, if you're shopping maybe the ZR2, the Ranger Raptor, these Trailhunters or the TRD Pro is definitely a truck to add to the list. Come out, take for a spin, see what you think. It's too good. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 25 Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.